to track this. Now, I'm 22 minutes into the broadcast, and I haven't gotten to the biggest issue yet. And I'm going to be detailing this later in the hour. But I wanted to calmly give you some of the background and a wide spectrum analysis of what's happening before I go there. The Japanese government is now reporting that 6 plants have lost power and that they are in emergency situations trying to pump seawater on the ocean-based plants, coastal plants, and regular water into one of the plants that is more inland, and that 3 plants are on the verge of complete meltdown. The Fukushima #1 did melt down, ladies and gentlemen, and it began melting down Friday night Japan time. That's in the morning here. I knew that because I had done basic research into it, and they were reporting 1,000 times regular levels of cesium and radioactive iodine, and that is only released from these type of uranium rod reactors when a meltdown has begun and fission has been achieved. Now, I'm no nuclear physicist. That is 101 in the encyclopedia for a meltdown. That's what happened at Chernobyl. Now, I had arguments with my writers, proved the information to my writers, Kurt Nemo, Saturday, not mean arguments, but we had debates about it. And I worked with Kurt, and he concurred, and we put out a report first, Saturday morning, before anybody else did. And I just want to point out, we know what we're talking about here, that Fukushima #1 had melted down. Now, it had not exploded yet. Right at the time our article went out, it exploded. That was not a steam release or a hydrogen explosion. And that's now been admitted by the Japanese government that it did indeed melt down and did indeed explode. They first tried to claim, oh, well, that was just the containment facility blew up, but the reactor's fine inside. Sure. It's an explosion sending sending brown smoke, meaning that's not steam, ladies and gentlemen, over 1,000 feet in the air in seconds. Those towers are 1,000+ feet tall. We looked it up. So within seconds, 1,000-foot tall explosion, a giant containment facility going sky high at the reactor #1. And then the media said, gee, do you think there's going to be a bigger problem now at the plant? I don't know. It just completely explodes, many times bigger than Chernobyl, right in front of you. And they're picking up 1,000+ times the radioactive isotopes 100% associated with meltdown. And now it's admitted the rods got blown all over the place. It's admitted, and now they're saying that's a good thing, and that the engineers actually did that so that it wouldn't completely melt down. And a lot of other engineers have actually concurred with that, that blowing it up would send it in different directions so it wouldn't all melt down into one big blob and really go China syndrome. So, government always lies is the point. They lie up front and don't want to tell you what's happening. And it's not that I'm against technology, but government is so corrupt that they covered up how bad 3 Mile Island was. Turned it out it was over 100 times the radiation that they had claimed was released. That's now on record. There is a big experimental reactor and a sub-reactor here in Austin, Texas. The general public doesn't even know that the J.J. Pickle Research Facility is one of the biggest research reactors in the world. Where I live, there's a gigantic nuclear reactor, actually 2 of them, and the general public doesn't even know what's going on. When my dad was at UT in the 60s, they had one downtown. At least they moved it up north. Okay? So the issue is, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the denial that the nuclear industry does not have a very good safety record. It turns out most of the time they release radiation as steam when the public isn't looking. And that's why I like coal. Coal isn't perfect, but let me tell you, it won't turn your hair orange. It won't turn, you know, suck the paint off your house and give you an orange afro, as they say in... oh, what's that movie with Danny DeVito and the guy's trying to sell him speakers? And he says, man, this stuff will... No, it's Ghostbusters, where he says it'll suck the paint off your house and give you a permanent orange afro. The point is that, you know, a little bit of gallows humor here, folks, because this is very, 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 very serious. So here is the Tokyo News. Meltdown caused nuke plant explosion. Government Safety Board says that, yes, the Fukushima facility did melt down. Here's another report. AP's reporting this. Russia Today as well. BBC also reporting. Nuclear plant designer says Japanese government suppressing scale of crisis. Yeah, no kidding. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to know when a containment facility blows sky high because the explosion's so big that the reactor just blew up. Steam doesn't do that. Hydrogen doesn't do that, ladies and gentlemen, not at the levels it's in a plant. Continuing here, the biggest issue that I haven't even gotten to yet is fallout. There are 6 reactors in crisis mode. The Japanese government now admits that. And that's 6 that are having big problems right now at 3 different locations across Japan. But at the Fukushima facility, there are 6 reactors. So I would up that to 11 reactors. Because Fukushima is 6. When they say 6, they're talking about Fukushima and 5 others. But if Fukushima is 6 reactors, and then that means they've got 5 more, 6 and 5 is 11. So Japan really has 11 reactors, 6 of them preparing to go critical right now, 6 of them on the verge of meltdown. 1 has already achieved meltdown. Guess who is slated to get the first dose in the trade winds and in the jet stream from the fallout of Fukushima #1 that we know blew up and sent its radioactive uranium-laced payload into the atmosphere. Guess who is directly in the trade winds, and above that, the jet stream, scheduled to be arriving here in the next day and a half? You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. You guessed it. The winds blow from Japan towards the United States west coast. It is going east. So Japan's east is the United States west coast. And I've looked at the trade winds. It will disperse the radiation from within about the area of central Canada down to Southern California, is set to be getting the fallout from the 1 plant that's already blown sky high of the 6 at Fukushima Reactor 1. There's Reactor 1 through 6, and we'll put the article up on screen for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. Japanese nuclear meltdown confirmed. That was our article we got out last night. We had the original article reported on media cover-up underway with nuke meltdown. And just 5 or 6 hours later, the Japanese government did come out and confirm that there was a meltdown at Fukushima #1. And gee, watching it blow up and clearly damage Fukushima 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, it was no surprise that suddenly they started reporting, oh no, other reactors are set to melt down now, because one of them blew up right next door to the others. What do you think that does? And suddenly they started handing out radioactive iodine to people 6 miles away, then 20, now 50. Now they're calling in 10,000 troops, 30,000 troops, 50,000 troops in full hazmat gear. They're giving the public